Good morning everybody, I'm here at the Essendon Motorcycle and Mowers, and today I plan to test ride and do a short first ride review on the Royal Enfield Scram 411, which has just recently hit the Australian market. So if you're up for it, grab a cup of coffee and stay tuned. Here we go, the showroom. All the Royal Enfields that you can think about, they're all here. All colors, all models.
Scram is 118 or 119.
And that's the Scram 411 that I'll be taking out today.
Intercept is 935.
We got Graham in the house.
Do you want me to take this as a second bike to ride or? Yeah.
More 411s here. We've got all the colors. Alright, so let's talk a little bit on this Scram 411. So as you can see, they're priced pretty reasonable. It's about $8,240 on the road now. Basically, the Scram 411 it's also known as the baby Himalayan because it runs on the same platform as the Himalayan S. It's got the same engine, 410cc single cylinder engine. It's got a single piston disc brake at the back by Brabey, and it's got a dual piston disc brake at the front by Brabey as well. Now it's got the spoked wheels with knobbly tires on both front and back end, and what they've done is to make it more road savvy. They have actually reduced the wheel size, so the Scram 11 has got a smaller front wheelbase as opposed to the Himalayan. So the Himalayan has got a 21-inch front wheel, whereas the Scram 411 has got a 19-inch Scram wheel, which makes it a bit more road savvy. Now this bike essentially is a very rugged looking bike. They've got a new seat as opposed to what they have on the Himalayan. The tail end is a little bit different as opposed to what they had on the Himalayan, and obviously it's got a wider handlebar without any wind protection at the front. So pretty good in that sense. Now, is this bike made for off-roading? So even though it looks like a bike that could go for off-roading, it's not actually designed for off-roading. The front suspension travel is only about 180 mil as opposed to classic off-roading bikes that has got about anything between 250 to 300 mil front suspension travel. So whilst it can be used to go off-roading, it's probably not designed exclusively for off-roading. But the beauty about this bike is it will appeal to a lot of new riders and as well as experienced riders, because you can sort of take it anywhere. You can take it on the road, you can take it off-road, and it's not one of those machines that you want to sit and shine and polish and keep it immaculate in your garage. This is a rugged looking bike. It's meant for rugged use, and it's there for you to enjoy, slap it around, and take it on all your adventures wherever you want to go. So there you go, the bike. I'm not going to go very much into the full details of the engine and so on, and also the specs, but essentially you know that we've got the suspension is essentially the same as the Royal Enfield Himalayan. The chassis is the same as the Himalayan. All they've done is the changes in the wheelbase. Same exhaust pipe, same engine, same tuning, only thing is different is the styling, the front end, and also the seats. So if you've ridden a Himalayan, you would not expect much differences on this bike, except for how it would handle on the road. Now, one thing I have to say is that I had a perception before I came in here that this bike is actually going to be a little bike, but now when I look at it, it's actually a reasonably tall bike. So it's a big bike, it's a tall bike. So don't get fooled by the images you see in on social media and so on, that it's little. It's not little. It's actually quite it's a full-size bike, and it's quite big. It's also got a bit of bash plate there, bit of extra protection, and so on. And there we have the Himalayan. So if you can see, very much same design. Alright, let's get on the saddle and let's ride the bike. Here we are, putting my gloves on. I've got the Himalayan Scram 411 all started up. Engine is warming up. Graham here is riding the Continental GT. That's got aftermarket exhaust. How good does that sound? You like the sound of it?
Love it.
Love it, isn't it? Oh, look at that. And then Noel, who is the principal dealer here, is also joining us today for a ride. He's going to take us through some back roads, which is very kind of Noel actually. So let's get on to it. So we've got Noel at the front, Graham just here, and me. Okay, as I said, this bike is not a small bike. It is a fairly big, chunky bike. So it's not small by any shape or form. First impressions, pretty nimble bike. Sitting position is quite yeah, it's all right. It's comfortable actually. Not too keen with the mirrors, I must say. I think they are a bit too inside. They should narrow out a little bit to give you a better view. So definitely, if I own this bike, one of the first things I would do is I would change the mirrors for sure. Alright, let's talk a little bit on the controls. The horn button is here on my right. I've been hitting it a few times just now. Just not used to the setup, I suppose. We got signal on the right hand side, high beam, low beam, pass, and then sorry, on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we've got the kill switch, we've got the start ignition switch, and we've got the hazard light. So that's it, very basic functionality. You've got this button here which essentially controls your trip meter. So if you press that, it gives you your sort of changes your trip gauge. So very basic functionality. The meter itself is I think it looks pretty good. It's sort of a modern and a classic look, so it's in twin in that sense. So you don't have a rev counter on this one, so you've only got the speedometer and kilometers per hour on the top, miles per hour on the bottom. You've got a gear indicator, which is really good. If you watch my video on the Classic 350, that doesn't have the gear indicator. So you've got a fuel gauge there, you've got trip A, trip B, and you've got the odometer as well. And you've also got a time display, which I think is a neat addition. On here on my right here, this is it currently just showing the time, but essentially you can connect your phone to this. This is actually a trip navigation system, and when you connect your phone to it, it gives you turn-by-turn instructions. So you can't really hear it, I don't think, but it sort of just tells you turn right, turn left, gives you instructions on that, which I think is also a really cool addition. So the Himalayans and the Scrams come standard with that. However, with the Classic 350, you will actually have to purchase it separately, because the last I heard there was a bit of a global shortage. So you'll just have to purchase it when they all come in stock, but definitely you can sort of add it on to the Classic 350 if that's what you're after. So Graham is really enjoying the Interceptor 650. Now let's talk about the performance of the engine. So I still do think that the Royal Enfield Classic 350 engine is much more refined. This one has got a bit more power to it, that's for sure. You can sort of feel it because it's a 410cc engine as opposed to the 350cc on the Classic 350. But again, there are two different bikes that for two different sort of use. On the Classic 350 you just want to relax on it, it's a bit more lazier. This one is a bit more gruntier, I would say. It's got a 5-speed gearbox, not the most powerful beast out there, so if you're after speed, this is not your bike. But if you're a new rider, novice rider, and you want something that is cheap to run and for you to take around the city and also a bit of adventure over the weekend, this is definitely something you could consider. Reason being is just it's got a very simple setup. It's not going to surprise you or shock you in any way. So for example, with my V-Strom 650, even though it's a LAMS approved motorcycle, it sometimes does throw you off. It surprises you, and if you are not prepared for that, it can actually be quite dangerous for you. So with this bike, it's actually, everything is very predictable. You sort of have to, because it's quite torquey, you probably don't have, you could possibly cruise at the third and the fourth gear without having to do much gear changes, just because of the characteristic of the torquiness that the bike has. It's a very nimble bike, as you can see. And as I said in the introduction earlier, this bike, it's got a rugged touch, a rugged look to it, right? It's not one of those bikes like if you got the Interceptors, for example, or the Classic 650, you want to sort of keep it spick and span. You want to polish it over the weekend and stuff. But this bike here, it's not made for that. It's one of those bikes that you would just ride, and it's never going to look bad because it's got a rugged feel to it, just as a standard. So that's my opinion, at least. Centimeters, and I can flat foot on the bike, which is great. On my V-Strom I am tippy-toeing, so that's a great sort of if you're a bit more if you're a bit of a shorter rider or so, this could be a nice bike for you, because if I can flat foot on it, I think if you're about 160 centimeters tall, you would be quite comfortable on this bike too. And even though I'm a bit taller, but you can see how my knees sort of just nicely fits into the curvature of the tank, so it makes it really, really comfortable. Look at that aeroplane there. Makes it really, really comfortable to sit on. It's upright, it's very much upright. You're not getting much wind protection on this thing because it's naked, obviously. But again, you're not going to be flying at 130 or 140 kilometers an hour with this bike anyway. So I don't think the wind is going to really bother you much in that sense, because you're not going to be going very fast. I think this bike tops out about 100 or probably 110 kilometers an hour from what I've read. I suppose I'll find out shortly, but at the moment I'm going at about 60 kilometers an hour. Very comfortable. A bit of vibration, I must say, but it's very subtle, so nothing that will irritate you in that aspect. So we're going through some windy section of roads now. Yeah, it's much more easier to ride than my V-Strom, that's for sure. The brakes are... yeah, the brakes are alright. I found the brakes on the classic 350 a bit more better, but it holds alright. I'm not sure what we're doing here, we'll find out. So we just refueled, and let's talk about the fuel consumption on this. So it's got a 17 litre fuel tank from what I've been told. I'm not sure if it actually tells you how much kilometers you get with a full tank, but from what I've been told by Noel, he said it's extremely fuel savvy, which is what you would expect from a single cylinder engine. So 17 litre fuel tank, which is quite huge for a bike this size. That would go forever. I think it would at least give you about 500 k's easy with a full tank. My V-Strom gives me about 400 k's on a full tank, and the V-Strom has got a 20 litre tank. So and that's you know, with the aftermarket exhaust. This one standard definitely give you more k's. Now we're going to head into some twisties here. I'm still not too used with this bike, so probably take it a bit easy, but I'm going at about 70 kilometers an hour speed now, and I can feel the wind hitting me. So that's something that I have to get used to, because with my V-Strom that never happens. No wind hits you, so you can sort of feel the wind hitting you, not in a very uncomfortable way though. Something that you will possibly get used to, but as I said, you know, you're not going to be going very fast. And mind you, today is a fairly windy day as well, so I expect a bit more extra wind than normal. But at fourth gear I'm going at about 70, very, very comfortable. On a 60 zone. Could I use this bike to go on long rides with my mates? You'll probably be the last one, but being the last person in the convoy isn't necessarily the bad thing. You know, as long as you're not trying to, you know, keep up with them, just ride at their own pace. So it is quite fun. It'll give you quite a bit of fun. So I do like it. Yeah, it's a bit different on the twisties. Yeah, took me a bit of getting used to, but alright, so now I'm pulling on third gear at 80 kilometers an hour. Drop gear again. Yeah, you got to sort of, it's not made for speed, you can see. You've got to sort of, you know, push it to go to the 100 mark. So at the moment I've reached the 100 mark. It's alright. It's probably most comfortable at about 80 kilometers an hour, to be honest. The wind is, yeah, we get a bit of wind turbulence, but the bike is actually sitting quite comfortably on the road. It's quite well planted, I must say. I do like that part of it. So third gear 100, fourth gear holds it at 100. Cool. that's alright. Geez, nice roads here for sure. So yeah, if you're going at an 80 kilometers an hour speed, very, very comfortable. Second gear going up the hill. Tires are not bad. I must say I'm starting to miss my heated grips. It's quite cold. There you go. Just got back from riding the Scram 411 with Noel and Graham, and I must say I had a lot of fun with the motorcycle. It holds up the speed of 100 110 on the freeways easily. On the way back we actually got on the freeway and it was fine. I think 110 is where it would probably go at the max. You could probably push it up to 120, but that seems to be the sweet spot, about 100 110 on the fifth gear. Very, very easy going and smooth. So overall the bike was really fun to ride. It's got really good styling. Seating on the motorcycle was really comfortable. A bit of difference with obviously the bike that I'm used to. So riding the Strom, it's much more powerful and so on. But again, as I've said, the Scram 11 is not made for speed. It's made for enjoyment, right? So you want to ride this bike and you don't want, it's not for you to go full throttle on. It's one of those bikes that you just want to ride, enjoy. So I think, in my opinion, the bike will best fit for new riders who are trying to get into motorcycling. They want something that will take them anywhere. Then this is the bike for you to go for. No surprises, easy going, easy to handle, and really nice looking too. So definitely one of the bikes to consider if you are new and looking for a motorcycle from a very reputable brand, Royal Enfield. Also, it will also definitely fit for people that have been riding for years as well. If you want to add to a collection, you want to get something for you to throw around, take into the bushes and so on, this would also do the job for you for sure. The price, it comes at a very attractive price point for about $8,000. So I think that's really affordable. It's also affordable to run because it's a single cylinder, really cheap to run, and so on. So if you want to test out this motorcycle, head on to Essendon Motorcycle and Mowers and look for Noel, and he will help you out with the motorcycle. I must say that They are really very helpful here, and really nice people too. So definitely you will feel very welcome here, and you will get all your questions answered. So again, if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, do like, do share, and do subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. So Graham, how did you find the Interceptor 650 and the Continental GT?
GT, yeah, I rode the GT first, and I was surprised. It's got aftermarket exhaust cans on the back, and I just love the sound, the thump of it, and quite heavy on the wrists. It's more of a clip-ons rear set, but yeah, I was very smooth engine and gearbox, and brakes are good too. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it. It was, yeah, it exceeded my expectations.
How did you find the build quality?
Looked good. Looked quite good. Yeah. And then jumped onto the Interceptor, and that was a different bike.
Altogether.
Yeah, so different. There's more sit up, and yeah, and gearbox didn't seem as smooth. But yeah, no, that would be a good bike to tour on. Actually, very comfortable. Seat felt comfy, and brakes are very good. I was really impressed by the brakes. Yeah, so yeah, I was. I'd probably go I'd probably have two. I'd have the GT for Sunday afternoon on the twisties, and then you know, the Interceptor. It'd be really good touring on that bike actually. It's going off for a weekend camping on it. It would be really fun. Yeah, it's a fun. They're fun bikes. They're really good.
Fun bikes, right?
Yeah, they're just fun. It's like the old-fashioned riding when you got into bikes. You know, that feeling of you don't have to rev, and it's just nice. You just ride the torque. Yeah,
and very basic, not much tech on it.
That's the appeal of them, I think, for me. It's just they're basic. You're getting back to actually what it is about motorcycling. That's for me enjoyable. You know, just the feel and the sound and relaxed. Yeah, no, very good. I'm impressed by them. Yeah.
So maybe the next thing that we will review is the Interceptor 650 and also the Continental GT. So stay tuned for that, coming on soon. See ya.